All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a tiny no airwalk. This is my Ask Ivy show where I take your question and I deliver out messages from spirit. Anything goes. Money, work, travel, real estate, love life. Is he cheating? You know, what's going on with this problem over here? What am I supposed to do if you have a deceased loved one or pet that you would like to get a message from? I do ask that you include the first name of whoever it is that you're referring to. It helps me to speed up the process and give you a more in-depth answer to your question. So drop your $10 donation if you don't know how to do that. It's posted above or in the description. If you are on Instagram or TikTok, we're not allowed to do that. So Diana, my beautiful producer, is having to post the directions over and over again in the comment section. It also doesn't let her pin. So it's her lot in life tonight, right? So she's going to be posting that over and over again. If you don't want to deal with any of that, go to YouTube at Ask Ivy. You can do it all under one roof, and you can see it right at the top of the screen. All right, Elvin. We're going to start with Elvin. For do you see my two daughters reuniting anytime soon? Okay. Elvin's two daughters reuniting anytime soon. I don't think it's going to be soon enough for you. I think that it is relatively soon in the larger scheme of things. I'm seeing 3, and I do feel like I'm talking about 3 weeks. There could be a transition in the contract, communications, a break in the system, a change in schedule. Technically, this is falling in a free will zone over here, which means there are a lot of hands in the pot with this situation. So I can't give a 100% guarantee because every individual with a hand in the pot has free will. So this could shift a bit. I really doubt, though, that the timeline itself is going to be shifting. So that in itself seems pretty destiny charted and set. I do think that this is an important time for you to not overcompromise, overgive, give too much negative energy to the situation, including stress. If you're dealing with someone who is manipulative, for example, or you're dealing with someone who's, fairly toxic, we don't want to give attention, energy, fear, allow that to consume us, because even if you're not communicating directly with people in a position of making this decision, those in power or more power than you in this situation, the energy still transfers. They can still read it. They can still feed off of it. Okay. So, and this is for everyone, don't ever think that because you aren't communicating with someone directly, they don't know if they're draining you. Okay. And you just don't want to feed it. I don't think there's any need to keep also sort of like chasing this. There will be several opportunities, 2 in particular, and I'm hearing over the course of the upcoming 5, that could be 5 weeks, I would say 5 months total, where we are going to have some breakthrough opportunities for you to present your case, present your side, create changes in the direction you want this to go in so that we can see a reuniting here. And I think that until those show up, you're kind of just riding things out. So don't feel like you have to pull and reach and overdo it. You're waiting a little bit at this point. But yes, I definitely feel that by that time, you will be able to see reuniting based on what I'm looking at today. Okay. Again, with free will, it's hard to give a 100% guarantee, but I would be very surprised if it doesn't go that way. Thank you for your question. Next one up is Anne Marie Delora. She says, my dad, James, has passed. I'm looking for any messages that he may have. James, father, Anne Marie, step forward. Messages for her. He's with you in the car. I don't know if you just got like new wipes for your steering wheel or things were like dusty and dirty or what, but what do they call Armor All? Armor All makes these wipes. It's like you can kind of have that new car feeling, that brand new leather, smell that came out of a bottle. It does not have to be real. I feel like he's riding with you. It's like he's shotgun, and I feel love mobility. I think you love fluidity. I think you love the motion of the car. I think it is a state of meditation for you. It is for a lot of people who don't like to sit still and meditate, movement meditation. So this could also be walking. He's with you when you're walking, you're working out, you're on the treadmill, you're in a state of motion, but mostly it's in the car coming. He shows butterflies as well, and I'm going to get onto that, and birds. I think these are yellow birds. A couple things. Okay, so when he's with you in the car, pay attention to the songs that are coming on the radio. I do feel that he is pretty good at manipulating technology, and he's talking about putting thoughts in your head. So the ear ringing, clairaudience, tinnitus, like your left ear may ring, or you have a feeling of pressure in your ear, and then he's putting thoughts in your head, solutions in your head. This may increase for you in the bathroom, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, because he is clairaudience and you have clairaudience. We have a nice pairing on communication here. The native belief is the porcelain, earth, water, and mirrors are all conductors with the other side. And dreams, okay, especially as you're dozing off or waking up, I feel like at that point you hear him audibly in his own voice, not your own inner voice, not songs that are popping in your head, thoughts that you're having. It's his voice when it's happening at night. He said put something down. If you've been stressed about something or trying too hard, it's like put something down. Also, if you're trying to make plans for your future and you're like, okay, well, what are the resources? Well, what's the trajectory here? What are the long-term goals? How do I finagle all of this? Sometimes it's good to just take a step back, or even like a couple weeks. Just step back, step away, and let the universe kind of show you some things that you need to be seeing right around this time. But if anyone is bogging your thoughts down, let go of them, even if it is memories. Let go of what no longer serves. And he's sending you butterflies and yellow birds. He loves you very much. We're going to move on to, is this, okay, we just did Anne, and now we're going to do Anna Pekka. Anna Pekka says, my friend Taylor's mom passed away. Okay, Joni. So we're trying to connect with Joni. Does she have any messages for Taylor? Joni for Taylor? Okay. When she comes in here, I feel like I can't breathe. She may have had, I can't prescribe a diagnosis, but it almost reminds me of like a COPD problem. It's like, I feel like I'm talking about the lungs, but then I feel like I'm talking about the heart. I may be talking about both. And I have no medical training. Okay. So I'm just giving it the way she's giving it to me, but it feels like this getting very heavy in through here, and her also not being able to like raise. She said, I couldn't really raise my hands, or I couldn't raise my arms, or I couldn't do what I wanted with my hands. She was quickly losing control, and she's happy where she is. She's happy to be out. Okay. Pass that along. She said, thank you for doing this also. And she's giving you a yellow, and pass this on also to Taylor, but it looks like a yellow rose of some kind. And that can also mean happiness, joy, travel, adventure, peace. Okay. But she wants you to know, and please tell Taylor, I'm in a good place, and I wouldn't want to get back in the body. Okay. There was really no going back in that body. But it doesn't mean I'm not watching. It doesn't mean I'm not checking in. I feel for a while, she may be checking in regularly, like every night. That's a lot. The point of her doing this is not to make the living more attached to her, to make them miss her more when she stops that, because that won't go on forever. It'll go on ballpark 3 to 6 nights. Okay. But I would expect regular visits from her. And then she's talking about the written word. So like cards, fortune cookies, affirmations, memes. Okay. The written word, the written word. It also seems to be like a memorial card. I see her picture in the middle, like an oval. There are some flowers or something coming up out of it. This is 2 butterfly symbols in a row we have, but it's like the memorial card is changing. Something is being, it's the words at the bottom that matter. Okay. And I feel like it's beautiful. Okay. She's blowing kisses and is showing gratitude for the words that are written. you guys may do some type of a releasing ceremony as well, you know, and that's not to say that a traditional memorial isn't a beautiful thing. It's for you guys though, you know, but you may do a releasing ceremony separate from that. That's a little more down to earth. Okay. And she'll be there for that. Talk of a ring as well. A ring passed on. You'll be hearing from her. Edgar, we are going to move on to Edgar. Could I please get messages for the remainder of this year for my job as a therapist at Starlight? Company I work for is called Starlight. Right. Okay. So Starlight for the rest of 2025 messages. Edgar, your work and money guide, your joy guide who watches over your mental and emotional well-being, as well as your spiritual development. Makes me feel like you've outgrown this. Okay, so the two of them jumping in on this question collectively suggests that this isn't just about a paycheck for you. This has become, maybe at one point it was, but at this point, it is about your mental and emotional well-being, your spiritual development, AKA your life contract and whether or not you're in alignment with it, and that paycheck, okay, what you're supposed to be doing for work. It does feel from your joy guide like you've somewhat outgrown this situation, but it also seems to be potentially renewing. So could we stretch it out an additional 3 months or so? I think that for the upcoming 3 months, we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be taking in the next could it be 2 weeks? It could. I was going to say more 2 months. Take it how it resonates, probably both, where we are looking at conversations that need to be had with like management, the higher ups, those in charge of payroll, what have you. And if we can work this out so that you feel there is growth for you, it's worth it for you to stay, you may be choosing to do that. You know, there is a part of you that seems to want to kind of stretch it out and stay as long as you possibly can. It's almost like the bird doesn't want to leave the nest, or being under your parents' you know, being under your parents' roof. It has that vibe to it. I do think, though, that you have slowly approaching, I want to say, some other situations that could be good for your growth, and you have one that's already been sitting there for a while, okay, like at least 3 months. So don't be shy to do what feels right for you. This is not a destiny charted type of reading. This is up to your free will. You know, this is an opportunity. That's probably why your joy guide is speaking on this. This is an opportunity for you to get in touch with your higher mind and say, what is it that I really want? What is truly authentic to me? What do I want to make happen here? You know, not what am I a victim to circumstance with, you know, like where will things land? Instead of giving the power to employers in the outside world, this is calling for you to take the helm. Okay. I think I just want to say this real quick. You know, we all need to remember that when our higher mind knows something and fully understands and has faith in maybe a change that needs to be made, or what the truth of the right path is, that does not at all mean that the fleshy version of you is going to agree or want to have anything to do with that. Okay. So it's this constant battle, you know, it's your higher mind knows, but even though you're aware of that, you may really fight it. And that it could look a while, you know, the rest of 25, Edgar, like that. Thank you so much for the hearts on TikTok. I so appreciate you guys. I forgot to ask everybody, please give this video a thumbs up. Drop in the comment section right now either a heart, or if you could let me know where you're tuning in from. Please do subscribe, share this video. Anything in the comment section helps me out in the algorithm. I appreciate you guys. Also, I forgot to mention that we have a limit of 2 questions per person. So Anne Marie Delora says, my son, TJ's dad, okay, Dan, has passed. Looking for a message to give him. Okay, Dan, please step forward. I don't even have to tell him. Do you have a message for TJ? TJ seems a little frustrated. So the first thing Dan's talking about is TJ like trying something. I'm trying it on for size, he says to himself. But he really isn't. He's really investing in this thing. He's really hoping that this thing works out. He wouldn't have bothered if he wasn't, you know, really planning on having it work out. He's a little, you know, do or die. You know, if you're going to do it, go all the way, you know, go big or go home type energy with him. But he tries to play it cool. Dan says he tries to be like, no, I'm smooth, I'm fluid, I'm chill, I'm cool. It's whatever happens, you know, it's okay. I do think that he's gone through a period, is still in this period where he's been trying some things and they're not necessarily working. You know, it's not giving him the payout that he was hoping. I feel this in a relationship dynamic. I feel this in some like career dynamic. Resources are going to be directly connected to that, possibly also residency. So, you know, a couple different things going on here where he needs some uplifting energy, and that's what Dan's bringing in. Okay, Dad, that's what he's bringing in for him, and has been here for about a month, maybe a month and a half. I feel like he's been visiting him in a couple dreams. He says 3. I do also feel like TJ is very psychic. Sometimes when you're very psychic, you can feel energy all around you. I tell my students that have a lot of this, like they're like chihuahuas. You know, they're just always good, bad, and different. It doesn't matter. Reading energy can dysregulate the nervous system. So he's got a little bit of that nervous psychic ability, but I feel like he's been moving more and more gradually in the last couple of years into mediumship, which can even it out a little bit in some ways. And I feel, you know, Dan coming in, paying visits to him, not just through these 3 dreams, but also TJ like psychically knowing the energy has shifted, being able to hear him walking through the house, moving things, messing with technology and lights and batteries, and then coming in to his room and visiting while he's asleep. So he's able to hear him, feel him, and then quite literally spend some real time in visits, okay? And he just wants him to pay more attention to that, not think by any means that he's imagining it. He also said, stop speeding, okay? So if he's like driving or speeding through life, take it out, resonates, but he needs to slow down. He's like, slow down. You're racing to go where to get where. He even does it when he doesn't want to be somewhere, which is hilarious. It's like, I don't want to go. And then I'm racing to get there. It's like, why are you racing? He wants him to just kind of slow it down, just a notch, you know, just a little bit, to take in a little bit more of life and see the bigger picture instead of getting into tunnel vision. He's helping him with that as well. He loves you. Love to him and love to you in a red rose, which is a birthday or anniversary right around this time. Can also be a passing anniversary. Take it out, resonates. Maraid says, hi, Ivy. I feel like the communication or energy between Ethan and I has slowed down. What should I expect between us moving forward? Ethan and Maraid, has it slowed? I don't think noticing it is helping, and I don't mean being aware, because you can't help that, and that would be weird to ignore it, but putting energy into it, like thinking about it, noticing it in such a way where you're judging it. You know, you're saying, well, you know, this is bad, maybe, instead of just, that's curious. It's best in this situation to, if you're going to spend time looking at the dynamics between the 2 of you and the relationship as a whole, if you're going to put that much effort into it, because it is early in the relationship. Granted, yes, maybe you have put in hours of like discussion or communication, you know, or sexting or whatever. I mean, but like, it's still technically really early. Okay. So let's just look at it this way. If you're going to put effort into like noticing and analyzing the vibes and where the relationship is going, and is he pulling away and stuff like this, don't do it in a black or white way. Don't do it as a right or wrong, a high or low. Do it as curiosity. Like, treat it and even this person like it's a science project. That's curious. Yesterday or 2 days ago, he was in really close. He was pulling me in. We had great banter. Today, I don't know. I don't know where he went. I don't know what's going on with that. You know, that's curious. I wonder, you know, what that's going to mean going forward, and what I can expect out of him. What you can always expect out of a human being is a pattern, right? So unless they're going through major transformation, and he isn't, I assure you, not in any way. So you can expect a pattern out of someone. So now you know for a fact that this pattern is going to be there where you're pulled, you know, he's pulling you in, or he's giving a lot, or there's a lot of exchange, and then it's drying up, slowing down, and there could be periods of like nothing before it comes back around again. What you really need to do is, instead of asking, well, what should I expect going forward, you make the determination of where it will go going forward, because that is not a pleasant roller coaster ride. You know, maybe you bought a ticket for it, but now that you're on it, you ever get to the top and it hasn't started yet, and you're like, oh my God, I regret this. Or like, is this thing working? Is this locked into place? What if we all die? You know, it's like, I want off. And they're never going to let you off. They're never going to let you off. So you need to, at this point, get charge of it, because this could be dysregulating your nervous system. You know, that's always a bad sign. I think that you decide now, instead of waiting to see what this is going to look like going forward, where exactly it's going to go. And when you see inconsistency, it means that you're limiting how much you're giving him of yourself. Time, attention, thought, effort, affection, all of it. Limit, 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 till he can show consistency. Anna Pekka, do you see the dramatics that happened last night with my ex-husband, Dorian, happening again in the future? Yeah. Regarding a new relationship I have? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's this like brewing energy, you know, it's like I see him thinking about like, when will this happen again, you know, or like, when can I kind of make this happen, or when can, you know, I state my position in this, or what I think, or pontificate, or, you know, make clear how I feel. I think there's this energy of almost a little bit of obsession at the moment. This is really not funny, but I mean, I think that I think if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. You know, I think that it was bound to happen. I also think that this is a person who goes in. Okay, I'm hearing like, I'll keep it clean. I'm on YouTube. I have to watch what I say. Okay, this is a person who can get a little bit obsessive, especially when they don't feel in control, or it's a hit to their ego. This storyline is your own, is what I'm hearing for you, okay? That's the most important thing for you to focus on, that this storyline is your own. This is your tale to tell, and it has really nothing to do with the new lover, the old lover, you know, anyone else involved. It's really just about you. And I think that where you are right now with this, you want to make sure that you are feeding all of your relationships in a manner that has strong, well-set boundaries, where you hold the line and you maintain them. You make very clear that this will be a peaceful exchange of high vibration between you and this other person, whoever that is in your life. There will not be chaos. There will not be drama. There will not be deliberate confusion, and there will not be a battle of wills or egos. So if you don't like it, you can kick rocks, and you're basically, you know, setting that tone, instead of feeling like, you know, you're kind of forced to go with the wind and the waves in this situation. But yes, I would absolutely expect more of the same. Sarah M. when will I move, and will I buy a house? Okay, when will she move, and will I buy? 8 to 9 months. It feels like there's movement in this area. 8 to 9 months out from now. So you could be seeing that there's a nice like payout, the money that you need, maybe the loan, okay, that you need, mortgage agreement, you know, something in this vein. This is an opportunity for you to look at what you would need to like put down and invest to get that moving forward. And you may be in a good position, in a nice position at that time. So it may not happen right at that moment, but you're getting it in motion, because now we, again, that cash, like we have what we need. loan, whatever, the resources are there. I think that you may choose to buy. I do think that you almost don't want to move unless, you know, you're going to be buying. I am also hearing, well, I have to. Well, I have to. And I think that could be restructured. That's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily 100% true. I'm hearing 90% true. You know, there may be some compromise that can be made there, strategy, restructuring. So it's going to be up to you exactly when you do this after that 8th or 9th month. But the major change is in the 9th month. When you're looking back at the previous months and you're saying, wow, my circumstance is pretty unrecognizable. I feel unrecognizable. I am ready to move forward. And then it's like, well, how do you want to plot this out? How do you want to make moves? And the universe will be supporting it. Up until that time, I feel like you're just collecting a lot of information. So try not to push too hard, because sometimes you're trying and racking your brain. And it's like, we're not there yet. It's not time to make a big move yet. Okay. Stay open. But yes, I would say definitely, if you want to do this, you know, right around that time, you want to do this even at like a year and 3 months, year and a half, it'll be there. It'll be there at 2 years and 3 months. The universe is supporting it in these different chunks of time, which means it'll be somewhat easy, even though moves are never simple. It's one of our big stressors, of course, but it is exciting. Edgar says this month is the 16th anniversary of when the burning sensation that I feel developed. The 16th year, okay, for the burning sensation. Does Spirit have any messages for me regarding the 16th anniversary? I am more positive and accepting of the burning that I feel. Does Spirit have any messages for it? I definitely feel like you're going to approach a time where you don't have to have an anniversary for this thing, because this does not feel pleasant to me. And the last thing we want to do is, you know, adopt something physical as like part of ourselves or part of our schedule or part of our, you know, sort of chronic awareness, or, you know, claiming it as our own. So the further away, you know, that you can get from it, the better off you will be. I do feel like the 24th year is when you get some type of enlightenment. And I'm not talking about, you know, when you turn to 24. I'm talking about if this is the 16th year, we're looking at the 24th. Okay. So it's at that point you get the final piece of the puzzle, or Spirit's talking about the conclusion. You know, this is part of a past life experience. This is not really uncommon to have something like this, meaning a physical manifestation of something you went through in a previous life. But sometimes we meet someone who is part of our life contract in this life, and they bring with them the missing piece of the puzzle. And that's what this person seems to be doing for you. I would not be surprised if you write about this, you publish about this. There's a whole line of storytelling about this. From now until then, I think you're letting what I just said unfold. Where did it come from? What does it mean? What is it connected to? And how am I using it, alchemizing it to help me to grow and come into greater positions of like power or enlightenment, healing as well. Okay. It does make you a tremendous healer. 100%. That'll be big this year. How did that thing make you a tremendous healer? Okay. We're going to move on to, do we have any more coming in? I don't say, okay. Camille says, for do I have anything to worry about with my pregnancy? Okay. Camille and the pregnancy. I can't prescribe or diagnose, but I can tell you how I'm receiving the information. If I were you, I would guard your lungs, especially through the change in the seasons. This could be anything ranging from like allergies that you normally don't have, you know, to being exposed to people who are just hacking and not covering their mouths or wearing a mask when they should, or whatever it is. You know, just protect your lungs. I also feel like you need to be mindful of swelling. Again, I can't prescribe a diagnosis, but when I see swelling in the feet of the ankles, that to me looks like a circulation issue. Okay. And, you know, the heart, the bloodstream, blood pressure. I think it's called edema. And I'm not saying it is that. I'm just saying I see swelling, you know, but it could be in the ballpark of that. So I would be mindful of that. I also think it's important for you to not stress or yell or fight with people. I see you going to sit down and having like raspberries and yogurt, you know, like whatever. I mean, you're clearly looking to take a break. You know, you're like excited to sit down. You're going to sit on the couch. You know, you're going to get crisscross applesauce. You're going to like have this, and someone's irritating you and you're like snapping and yelling. And like, I already told you it should have been done this way. And you're letting them know like they, you know, it maybe feels like disrespect to you. Rightfully so, rightfully so. But I do think that you could get way overheated and it can take a while for you to like calm back down. And, you know, what you need to do in dealing with people or situations where they aren't doing what they said they would, or they are causing you stress, is deal with them when it isn't blowing up. Okay. Make sure that you have given, I don't care if it's a boundary line or an ultimatum. Okay. But it does feel like this person needs to step up. That shouldn't have happened. And you don't need to be stressed out. Okay. So I would love to say, well, don't let other people stress you out, but that's not going to be realistic. It's how you manage the stress before it hits a peak point that's going to make a big difference in how this goes. Okay. Other than that, I think you're good to go. And, you know, you get your test done and all that, and you don't control anything beyond that. So let it go. Mackenzie M on TikTok, for where my relationship with Chandi is heading. Okay, Chandi, relationship with Chandi for Mackenzie. Chandi and Mackenzie, where is it headed? I see some blocks in communication that are deliberately being put there, and then you may get triggered and be like, oh yeah, then I'm going to do this. Okay. There's a lot of game playing going on here. I think that, well, that's where it's headed. I mean, that's the answer to the question. That's where it's headed because that's where it came from. And until there's a drive for both people to really change the dynamic, that's where it will continue to go. I do think that when we talk about Chandi's like wall being up, or lack of communication, some ego, this could be a situation where you say, well, you know, this person is maybe fragile or wounded. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Okay. They can take it to the therapist's couch. It should not be coming out in a relationship by means of like walling, you know, you out, or deciding not to communicate anymore, or be harsh or sort of angry or dismissive of you. Like, none of that is acceptable. Absolutely none of it. It looks a bit like a temper tantrum. Like this person's ego was threatened, not to say you did, but it just was, right? And then they're taking it out on you. So none of that. We're not going to feed any of that. I think the really important thing is that, you know, you're not reacting to it with pulling your affection back or trying to emotionally detach in a way that is punishing for that behavior. We've got a weird parent to child dynamic thing going on here. There's some past life influence going on here, definitely parent to child, very hard to break free from, but definitely like temper tantrum, control tactics. I'm going to punish you. No, I'm going to punish you. It gets real weird real quick. And I think that you need to remember in a situation like this, that the only thing you can control, the only thing you can actually do is to step up and be the bigger person and the more mature person, and set an example for how you intend to live your life and what you want your relationship dynamics to look like, what you will tolerate, what you won't tolerate. This is a karmic dynamic, which is chock full of lessons for sure. All right, we're going to move on to Jayla Hilly. Jayla says, any word on or from Lark the Shark? Lark the Shark? Any word from Lark the Shark? I feel like busyness. I feel busyness. I'm moving, I'm going. I'm working on this thing. I'm working on that thing. I feel high vibrational energy, a lot of intelligence, sort of a lack of follow through, you know, a lack of, not fulfillment necessarily, but a lack of completion on this task. And then I'm moving on to this task. And I feel like the message to you here is that you may be entering into a period of time where you're being more playful. You're taking on some more of that energy. There is sort of a banter going on here between the two of you. And it is playful. I see a ball. Whenever I see a ball, I know that has to do with like the inner child. Take it how it resonates. But maybe you're doing some healing to your inner child right now. Maybe you're realizing that even though it's hard, easier said than done, it is time to put some work away or to schedule in play in an innocent way, a lighthearted way, a way that brings peace into your life, but doesn't drain you. It doesn't take up a lot of your money or energy. This is something you're being shown. Okay, so the exchange between you guys there is mostly focused on helping you to elevate through that lightheartedness. And I also want to say, don't take things too seriously, okay? So the message here is also that don't feel like you have to complete everything. Now, I'm not saying get sloppy, okay, in your life, but this is about like, don't push yourself so hard. Take more time just to even like kick up your feet and say, you know what, I don't have to finish that right now. And if you've been making some decisions where you're saying, I'm not sure I'm going to finish this thing at all, that would also be acceptable. You seem to be focusing a lot on your mental health. Okay, and that's exactly where things need to be. Okay, well, you're going to move on to another one here from Lynette. Lynette says, for will the relationship with Robert, okay, go anywhere? Okay, will the relationship with Robert and Lynette, will the relationship go anywhere? This feels like a lot of work. It feels like a lot of work. He feels heavy to me, like lifting an elephant. You know, this may be someone who's very good at giving you certain things. I'm talking very particular things. I'll give you 1,000,000 of this thing, but you're getting negative, subpar in other areas. Like, you know, there's such an imbalance, like a deficit, and you couldn't pull it out of this person, nor should you try. It could feel like pulling teeth. You know, there are areas where you're going to see this person is unwilling to contribute. This individual also has an attitude toward you that of entitlement, like, well, I'm here gracing you with my presence, so I'm sure you'll be willing, maybe not happy, but willing to do the labor, to lift me up, to lift this relationship up. There's not only manipulative energy with that, but it would be the equivalent of, what's the word I'm looking for? When someone pretends that they don't know how. Somebody type that in the comment section. What is the word I'm looking for here? It's a phrase commonly used in dysfunctional like marriages. Yeah, where somebody pretends that they don't know how, because if they pretend that they can't or don't know, then what we're going to see is the other person who's doing all that extra work just backing off and not asking and requesting it anymore, not demanding it anymore because they don't want to rock the boat. Okay, so it's like a learned helplessness type of an idea. The labor not being balanced in this relationship and this individual not being willing to pick up the labor because they feel entitled to, your free labor is where this relationship will come to what I call pivotal point, and it'll be an opportunity for you to either get closer together or to go further apart. I would not put your eggs in one basket. Moving on to Jessica. Weaponized incompetence. Hi, Ivy. I've been looking. Let me just say this too, and this is for everyone. People who use weaponized incompetence in any area, like they're not just using it in one area. You may spot it in one area. It may be a big problem in one area, but they're doing it with a bunch of things, including their ability to like process information or grow, develop oneself, maybe go to therapy, heal, do the shadow work, on and on and on. I mean, it's everywhere, right? It's like an infection. It is there. You see it in, it's like rats. You see it in one spot, there are a bunch more. Hi, Ivy. This is for Jessica. I've been looking for a new job. Not a fan of the people I work with. Any guidance on timing for moving into a new role? Any advice on how to deal with these people? Okay. Timing on a new role? I think yesterday, I think this past week, that could be a month. Take it out resonates, where you feel not just a shifting, but like you're being pushed out. Like the universe is pushing you out. You may have a tendency to want to like dig in or be like, well, I'm not going to get pushed out, and that's understandable, but there is a wisdom that comes along with intuitively just understanding that sometimes you are being guided to look elsewhere, not necessarily jump ship like Tuesday, but look elsewhere and open up to the possibility that there are greater things like on the market for you that may not come directly to you unless you are knocking on those doors. So they can if you go after them, and that's the phase you're in. Okay, I think that what's happening here is that you aren't really fitting because you've used up everything you were there to attain. It's like a video game. You're on a level, you get a bunch of coins, you put them in your pockets, and then what? And then you're ready for the next level. Granted, when you first got on that level, you were probably planning on staying there a minute, but that's not the point of work. And you need to think of this job as like leverage for something else. I do think you could get a really nice recommendation. So while you may not feel as though you're getting along with some of the people there very well, there does seem to be a good working relationship with someone who's in the higher up position to give honor to your name, as you go out there and look elsewhere. That may happen. I'm not going to give 100% guarantee, but I think it could. I think that as far as you being there and trying to deal with them, remember that you're leaving. The solution is to know you won't need solutions for much longer. The solution is to know that this is temporary. You're not going to see Sue soon. You're not going to deal with Bill anymore. You know what I mean? It's like you can't stand your boss's voice or these stupid emails or this dumb task. It's like it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. You're showing up with this new energy. And, when you show up with this higher, lighter vibration, because like those aren't not my circus, not my monkeys anymore. It's a matter of time. I'm out of here one way or another. Even if you don't have another job lined up just yet, you're going to be out of there because it's a decision you make. That's where you start giving off a bit of a different vibe and people will start to respond to you in a different way, which is funny because it's like, okay, well, that would have been nice if that would have happened before, but it wasn't meant to happen before. And it doesn't mean you should change your mind and stay either. Not that you would, but I think don't spend too much energy in trying to work with these people. The system is dysfunctional from the foundation up, and there are cracks in the foundation, and the place may be going down. Nick White. Yeah, jump ship. Nick White, does my deceased dad, Robert, have a message for me? Okay, Robert, deceased. Okay, Robert, do you have a message for Nick White? I feel like a couple different things. He comes in here proud of you. I feel like you recently just like moved up or leveled up. This could have been some type of like a graduation, or this could have been something you were working really hard at for a while. It doesn't just feel like labor in like the career sense. It also feels like internally, emotionally, even spiritually. I feel like you leveled up mentally. You've had to have a really concrete mindset that you stuck to in order to support yourself long term. Oh, there goes my TikTok. I'm going to have to fix the puzzle thing. And he's so proud of you for this, because I feel like you don't often like honor yourself enough, or really at all. And you may not get, accolades. You may not get like awards, acknowledgments, or whatever, you know what I mean, from the outside world. But he is giving that to you. And he's giving a red rose, which is a birthday or anniversary right around this time. It can also be passing anniversary or just a deep love. Take it how it resonates. And he is talking about some healing. I feel like a new baby coming in, or a brand new project recently coming in. So blessings there as well. And stick with it, I'm hearing. And I do feel like you're getting ready to sort of venture out into the world with a whole new face, or a whole new mask, or this whole new, it's not a facade, I mean, but it's like a presentation. And he's just clapping for you. Okay, you're going to do great. But mostly I feel like you're ready to almost kind of mentor over other people. Just know how proud he is. He loves you very much. I'm going to fix this puzzle. He thinks I'm a robot. Why is it so hard? Just real quick, if you guys are tuning in late, welcome. This is my Ask Ivy show, where you drop a question of any kind, anything goes, and I give you an answer and deliver out messages from Spirit. You drop a $10 donation. That the directions for that are in the comment section or up above in the description. And if you prefer to do this privately or to gift a reading to someone, you can go onto my website, Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium.com. If you guys haven't already done so, please drop a comment of any kind and give this video a thumbs up, and please do share. All right, we're going to move on to Janelle Arza. Any messages regarding my career, getting back to the workforce, work path? Any messages regarding my career? Okay, we're getting back into the workforce. Janelle, career, workforce. Woo! You seem to be raking it in. This is slightly to the right, but this is dead right. This is destiny charted right. If you look at your Vedic or Western astrology, your numerology chart, your life contract, this will show up. There's no way it isn't. I'm also getting a lot of Virgo energy surrounding this. Talk of Saturn as well. So things may have been on a hold for a while. You may be feeling that right now and for the next maybe 2 months or so. But all of a sudden, you have all these options. And so I want to say over the course of the upcoming 4 to 5 months, it's kind of like whatever you want, you can have. I almost feel like things are being saved for you. If you go after them, the universe will let you have it and someone else won't get it. If you don't, then, it won't. I think this is a period of time for you to get out of the old way of thinking. So if you're thinking of branching off into some different directions, I feel like I can't breathe today. I have allergies only in the fall. So even though it's technically summer, I know the fall is here because my eyes are swelling. I can't breathe. I can't swallow. It's like miserable. It's just hit in the last 48 hours. So it's fall as far as I'm concerned. Bear with me, guys. So I think that what you really need to be doing here is thinking outside the box. Okay. You have a way of saying, well, I should do what I did, or I have to do what I did, or I'm inclined to just, do what I know, do what I should. But I feel like, what if we were to go in a different direction. You could find yourself in a position, depending on the choices you make. And again, because this is destiny charted, it's going to happen. It is available. It's up to your free will, though, to dictate where exactly it goes. You could find yourself in a position, if you play your hand right, where you are the authority. You are speaking, you are teaching, you are leading, you are communicating, you are telling people what to do, telling things where to go. And I'm not just talking about like, well, your position, yeah, it's typically what you do. I mean, even among other people who are in higher up positions. Okay, so within the field, like you are with that opportunity to level up. And I think it's within that, and we look back at your life contract, meaning what you signed on to before you came to Earth, we're entering into in about 3 years, another level up. And this could be the gateway to maximizing that. All right, so you can book a life contract reading at any time. It takes a full hour for me to go through it. It matches your Vedic or Western astrology as well as your numerology chart. But if you are about to enter into a pivotal point, you only get 5 to 6 of these over the course of your entire life. You're going to have 2 years of detox right after that. And right now you're in that year leading up to that process. Okay, so it's not about holding on to things. It's about exploring right now. And I feel it working out well for you. I mean, it's not hard. You know, just put in the effort. It's being ridiculously supported right now. Lots of stuff. We have a question here from Maraid D. She said, I'm starting to feel overly stressed and not happy at my current job with the suicide hotline. I can only imagine. I don't feel like it's my time to leave yet, but what should I be going forward, okay, and with my career path? Okay, suicide hotline, stressing Maria out, she's not happy. Is it time to go? Where should she be going? It's like these monkeys on your back that just like, it's like they gnaw, you know? It's like they just keep beating those stupid drums and it's loud. It's really loud. This may be a situation where you aren't able to leave work at work and it's bothering you even in the sleep state. Learn some lucid dreaming techniques. My dreams class on the website teaches lucid. You know, get control over your restful times. Get control over when your mind needs to wander. You're in the car, you're walking, you're working out, you know, you're in a meditational state. You don't want it going back there all the time to these monkeys on your back. It's almost like a threatening energy also for you. I feel confrontation. So if you've been having any back issues, and I can't prescribe or diagnose, but we do see manifestation of both of these things I'm talking about, the stress and this communication issue manifesting in the back, okay? Typically the upper to the middle back. And so if you're having any type of butting of heads with a boss, you know, someone putting pressure on you, it feels like that's never going to stop. They are the image that your joy guide, who's watching over your mental and emotional well-being, which is ironic, right? Because it's a suicide hotline. You would think you'd be well taken care of, at least to take care of others. Nope. Merca and your work and money guide, you know, what they're talking about here is like the company that you work for example, your bosses, these higher ups, they're injecting you. They show it almost like a syringe, like they're injecting you with pressure. This is not something worth sticking around for. I mean, honestly, I think that you were supposed to be there. I think that it has presented, there are two opportunities, one big, one whatever, you know, that you were there to get access to. You can get access to them in other ways. So don't overstay. You're welcome. You know, you don't have to be there. I do think that you choosing you is a bit of a karmic test right now. And you're already saying, just even in this question, you know, I know it's not time to leave, or I don't think it's time to leave, but is it? It's up to you. If you want to leave, it feels like you can leave. You may go into some training. That may be a better route for you to take, some training where you can help people more. Like, it almost feels like an EMT who's dealing with someone who had a mental health breakdown or a suicide attempt, or is, I saw you in an ambulance. This can be a symbol, but you know, it's maybe like right after that. Are they awake? Sometimes, are they not? Maybe you're there when they're waking up. There may be something you can do that's a little more hands-on. The pressure they're putting is not right. It's not right. Everything's money. So it's so gross. Jessica, you know, you can start your own hotline. I mean, for the way this thing runs. Jessica M on YouTube, do you have clarity on which way to take my business and or just in general from spirit? The business. So I don't have the business name here. I don't even have initials. Is this the current business? All right. Do you have any clarity on which way to take the business? Businesses or business? Business for Jessica, where to take it? You know, it feels like you're revving up, and it's stalling out. It reminds me of when like something's wrong in the engine or something's in the fluid, like something, there are shards of something, you know, that just doesn't belong there. And so it's like this car is never going to go, like the engine is not going to get you anywhere, even if it were to start. And so there's a stalling out process going on here. And I think what you really want to do is get out of that entirely. And it's going to require that you're thinking about this differently. I think expansion is key, even if parts of, you know, your logic have said, well, this is no time to expand, or, you know, I've already done that. It may be in ways that you're not thinking of. There's talk of the next 3 to 4 months. So the next 3 to 4 months, if you were to focus on expansion through, I'm hearing word, but I'm seeing it in the ears. So like, do people hear about what you're offering and providing? How can you get it out there more in a way that they're hearing it? I also heard, where is the need or where is the desire? So focusing more on your target audience is how I'm reading that message. Take it how it resonates. Okay. But like people needing something for my business, for example, I'm like, well, if they lost a loved one, you know, if they're going through a financial crisis, if they're debating on a divorce, like these are going to be my people, you know, so I need to be like on call. I love the idea of being booked out for years and years, but that's not my gig. That's not my calling as a medium. I need to be there, and I make sure that I can be, not all the time, but as much as possible. Are you meeting the needs? Are you meeting them where they're at? Do you know who they are? You know, there's a lot of questions coming up here about sort of like inefficiency in some of this. I also think that it's an important time for you to be able to consult if you're consulting someone. And that could be something like getting a longer reading about this, but it felt more like somebody in business or someone who knows the marketing, someone who understands like that industry a little bit more, or at least has like really good ideas. Like maybe this person is very thoughtful. I get a lot of like Capricorn energy and Sag energy and like Virgo energy, you know, a little Gemini in there. Like you may be dealing with someone who has a lot of problem solving skills, right? And they're happy to share that with you, almost like a mentor, even if this is just someone you're friends with. But I do wonder sometimes if you're not talking about this enough, you're not talking to the right people. And yeah, I think there needs to be a little more networking going on with that. Okay, so there are things that you could do. I would start there. Rising Sun 333. This is for, okay, Michelle. Will Sean try to reconcile? Yeah, Sean will try to reconcile. So for Michelle, will Sean try to reconcile? I think that this is a situation with him coming in that has a lot to do with a power struggle. It's like a knowing that Michelle will like let him back in. I think I'm reading this right, but I got like a bunch of names here, but you know, it's that other person. I do see him coming back, and it's like he knows that other person will cave and like accept him back or let him back in. So there's a certain level of ego, which is fear, manipulation, and control that comes along with this, that makes this feel very inauthentic. It is not a really transparent, honest exchange as much as it is a game, maybe some cat and mouse. It's a power play. And this individual may be looking for opportunities to like get the upper hand. It also may not last. And here's something you need to be careful of. Sometimes people try to come back in as like a revenge, a ploy to knock you down and see if they can, you know, just to see if they can, and then play that game for a little while, you know, and then pull the rug out from under you. So it could very well end up looking like that. But yes, and I'm hearing 3. So that could be as soon as, I mean, maybe right now, maybe 3 hours. But I was going to say more like 3 days, maybe 3 weeks. So it's not far out. It's very sloppy too, the way it gets done. It's very sloppy. It's like a slap in the face. It's like a sloppy, I almost saw like a shitty text or like poor punctuation. I mean, that would drive me nuts. Or like being like drunk, you know. So I don't know. It's just sloppy. It's just like, you would have done better not to bother at all. Like, thanks, you know, thanks for nothing. That doesn't mean you won't respond. I'm just saying, okay. You want to watch for things like this. You know, when someone is making an attempt to build a relationship, a bond, or certainly to repair, they really ought to be bringing their A game at least to that moment. At least, right? Nakia Cook. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Nakia Cook. Any messages? I'm open to anything you feel. Okay, messages for Nakia. Nakia, I think that speed may be picking up in your life. If you've been doing a little like cha-cha, a little bit of a dance with like, do I move forward? Do I stay still? Not necessarily do I go back, but do I move forward or do I stay still? You're making a decision. You have been making this decision to stay still, because it's either you go forward and you keep going forward, what is in motion stays in motion, or you don't. Okay, so you're coming out of a mentality of like, what do I do? What do I do? And you've been taking it pretty casually. You've been like, well, you know, whatever, there's time. There really isn't. You know, you're living this life. It is limited. Everything within life is on a deadline. We should be passionately moving forward at all times. If you are holding back for someone else, if you are holding back because you don't want to outgrow or rock the boat where you are in any capacity, okay, that is over. The deadline is passing for that, okay? You need to let that go. What I see you doing is getting behind the wheel of a car and moving very quickly. Now, that is not a recommendation. That is a symbol. That is a symbol for you being in a position of power, being able to be seen by the world as a power player. If you are debating on launching something, entrepreneurship, business ownership, independent contracting, consultant work, a new title of any kind within your career, anything like that, that will take off, and networking will also be taking off. I also see once you get moving, you know, stop making excuses for your, I heard for yourself, but I was going to say for things in general, you know, your relationships are going to pick up, like they're going to get deeper. They're going to be deeper levels of intimacy and connection. And that's really, really nice. We have on TikTok, Christine is next. Christine says, does my mom have any messages for me? Christine from Mom. When I go over here with your mother, she's talking about sunflower, giving you a bouquet of wild flowers. And this is symbolic of you being, how do I want to say this? You being the wildflower, but maybe having forgotten that you're the wildflower. You know, you're acting a little bit more like a rose bush that's waiting to bloom, or something in hibernation. You know, it's like, what are you kind of waiting for? You know, this could also be you getting older, you know, you growing up, not necessarily slowing down, I wouldn't say, but maybe feeling a little more tired or less like, oh my God, you know, and energized in life, like less excited about things that maybe used to really excite you, you know. She's mentioning rollerblading, and I don't know if this is something that you did, but, you know, the other day, a skateboarder went by me on this huge, massive hill. I used to rollerblade down right into traffic. I was like a crazy person. He went down on his skateboard, and I thought, would I get on my blades and go down that hill again? Hell no, I wouldn't do that. Because, not even because of fear, because I don't find that fun. It made me sick just thinking about it, you know? And so it's like, where did that part of me go? It's like survival instincts, right, have caught up with you, and maybe you're feeling a little bit more like low key about things. And she's not saying that's bad in any way. I do just feel like it's time for you to allow some new things in. And again, you don't have to get your rollerblades on, do anything crazy, you know, or go out and drink a lot, or, you know, party. This is going to be real simple. But in this bouquet of wildflowers, the biggest and first flower I saw was a sunflower. And that represents your spiritual development. So the next sort of level up for you, the next journey, the next stone being lit up on your path, right? If you're like Dorothy on the Yellow Brick Road, you know, she's like the lion, you know, or Toto, better yet, she said. She's like Toto, always with you. It's time for you to get more involved. And maybe you've already been doing this, and she's just giving encouragement to that. Take it how it resonates. But it's time for you to get more involved in what really feeds your soul, okay? Because what used to be fun is maybe not anymore. What used to be energizing, maybe not anymore. What used to be a wild time is like insane at this point, you know? So what is next? And I think that taking one step out in blind faith, doing something new, focusing on your spiritual, energetic development is also going to lead to a significant amount of healing, and then many, many stories after that, meeting some new people as well, and you giving it out to others. Publishing too. I don't know if you've been trying to write a book or publishing. Publishing keeps coming up with you. It also feels like you're becoming a bit of the matriarch in the family. She's talking about a grandmother being with her. Expect to see them in a dream, like collectively. Maybe not all at the same time, but over the course of that night, collectively. Their mouths won't move, okay? If it's a real visit, they'll communicate telepathically. They will be brief encounters. She loves you very much. Some talk of like a jewelry that you have, jewelry. And I can't tell if this is a music box. Some of her things, okay, that you have. But I feel like I'm in the bedroom, slightly to the left. But I think I'm in the bed, okay, slightly to the left. Anna became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Anna. And thank you everyone in the comment section. I haven't had time to read it because I'm reading in a totally different way. But thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. If anyone else wants to become a member, go onto YouTube at Ask Ivy, hit the join button. It'll show you the 3 different tiers of membership options. All right, Nakia, another one for Nakia. Nakia Cook says, any messages from my husband? Okay, and I don't have his first name, but he's already here, and that's pretty blatant that that's him. When he comes in here, he said, take a deep breath, because you've been going, and then it's almost like you don't have a downtime. You just sort of pass out, and then you kind of wake up, maybe even from your sleep, feeling a little anxious or having trouble getting back to sleep. I can't prescribe a diagnosis, but it does feel like maybe stress dreaming, okay, or just a lack of rest in general, because again, you may feel like you have to get back into this mode of go. So like, when is the downtime? And he's not talking about like having a glass of wine and then just kind of passing out, you know. When do you start to feel a little more centered, rooted, grounded? He has this vibe with him. I would, you know, he'd be a great teacher on this, because he has this way of being very centered. And I feel like even when things came at him, he would still, even in the chaos, you know, people could be jumping out of buildings and everything's burning and people are fighting and there's, you know, chaos all around. And he's just like, let me strategize. Like, let me think of what would be best. And a lot of that is coming from his intuition. And he did know when he would get out of balance and try to pull back in and get centered. You know, he wasn't perfect at it, but he did understand it. And he's trying to help you get there, because it feels like you've been knocked off your throne. You know, it feels like your crown has been knocked off. And he just wants you to know that he loves you, and that it's not to be taken lightly. Even this message, he said, don't ignore me now. Don't act like I didn't say it. Don't act like you weren't just called out. Don't act like, well, whatever, but that's life. Life moves that fast. No. That's a choice. It's a choice. I feel like what he's trying to help you to do also is sort of de-stress, take better care of your heart, your circulatory system, your nervous system. This is important. Okay. I also feel like you're running around. I feel like you're running around a lot. So I don't know if this is after another male, or I feel like something about a younger male. I feel like you're running around a lot and you're trying to do a lot of things for other people and even mentally. So even when you're not doing it physically or literally, you're doing it mentally. What does this situation need? What does this person need? Try to come out of that more and be centered within yourself. What do I need? What do I want? What makes me happy? He says that you hear from him quite a lot. He rings the ear as well, a tinnitus or a weird pressure in the ear, but he often brings the right ear, which is usually the opposite. So I don't know if he's left-handed or you're left-handed or something, but with some people, it could be the opposite ear. Take it how it resonates. And then he puts thoughts in your head, songs in your head. I do feel like he's been visiting. I don't know if there was just an anniversary, okay, but I am getting a red rose, which is a birthday or an anniversary right around this time. Can also be passing anniversary or a deep love, but I do feel like a visit also in a dream right around that time. All right. Thank you. He loves you very much. On TikTok, okay, we have Christine. Does my little brother have any messages for me? Okay, people, you need to include names of who you're referring to. I got a lot of people over here. I got a lot of people coming from here. Okay, too many. You got to give me a name. You got to give me a first name. Christine, little brother, any messages? Little brother for Christine. He's a little jokester, He comes through and it's like very intelligent humor, like very, intellectual humor. This isn't like slip on a banana peel, dumb slapstick. It's like he takes words and he twists and he maybe makes people look foolish or situations seem ridiculous, or sees something in a completely different manner than like it has one has nothing to do with the other, right? This is the art of comedy. High IQ, hilarious. I feel like when you're going through life and you're maybe angry, maybe you're pissed, maybe something went wrong, maybe even in traffic, he has a way of popping these jokes into your head that are hilarious. And you may sometimes say like, well, this is no time for humor, but clearly it is. And you didn't even have to work at it. Okay. So I feel him communicating quite a lot in that way. He's also talking about a birthday cake. Okay. So somebody, right around this time, the birthday cake, give out love. I think that you guys are talking about him on the anniversary. Also, it's like of his passing, talking about him. And there's talk of what to do. So if everybody was thinking of maybe like getting together and having a party for him, not a ceremony, but like a party, I think that may be very healing, and it may be something that you've been trying to do more of. Also, he said, you've been talking to me, but you've been talking to me in a different way. You've been talking to me where he's kind of jumping around, release of balloons. Okay, so that may be part of his ceremony. But he said that you've been talking to him in such a way where you're like deliberately sitting down and holding something of his. This is called psychometry. If you're not familiar, maybe you are. But psychometry is the use of an object to directly communicate with the spirit. And so that can be something like, sorry guys, my allergies are like driving me nuts. My eyes itch so bad. I need drugs. I'm not going to be able to make it through the season. Psychometry is the use of an object for energy transfer and direct communication, a direct link. It can be something like a photograph of the person or a prayer card or something like this. It can also be something that they owned. Okay, I don't care if it's a chapstick that they owned, anything that had a lot of their own energy in, and you put it in your left hand, okay, your receiving side, and then you put your right hand over it, and you have a direct, almost like a phone call type of communication. All right, so I don't know if you were doing that purposely. you know, or if this is just something you've been thinking of, is having more like ceremony time with him where you sit down and deliberately try to connect, but it's going to work. He loves you very much. Give out love to everyone. Is something going on here with Manny's payment? I'm sure he did. If he said he did, he did. So we don't need to worry about Manny, Diane. So just go ahead and put his question through. We'll find it later. I know that some of the payments were acting weird when Kim produced like 3 weeks ago. So there's kind of like a hidden, especially if it's through PayPal or YouTube, there could be something weird. There you go. You said PayPal. PayPal sent you confirmation. It's a PayPal situation. PayPal in itself is just full of problems. I can't even deal with it anymore. So it's on my website, it's through these shows, it's like all the time. And then it's like rocket science getting in, you know, they've got everything locked up like Fort Knox. You can't get in to do anything in there to find the info. They act like, you know, you're trying to break the system and rob everyone. Yeah, so Diana, I don't know if you can hear me, but if Manny said he paid, like just go ahead and put his question through whenever it's his turn. Do we have any other questions coming up? Just a reminder for everyone tuning in that if you would like to get an in-person reading with me at one of my super fun events, I am entering into my in-season. So I'll be working like the Allentown here in Buffalo, the ghost tours with Explore Buffalo. I'm going to be reading at the Oakwood Cemetery again. I've got all kinds of fun stuff coming up, and you can go onto my website to book some of the in-person readings with me or get tickets for that. You can book internationally anytime. Also at Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium.com, and because I work internationally, there are a lot of open slots even until like 3 a.m. Eastern, okay, which helps out like India time and stuff like that. But if it doesn't work out for you, you can always get a video download reading. Okay, we're waiting on Manny's questions. Manny, if you can resend. Okay, so I'm just looking at this comment feed here. Also, if you guys wanted to drop a question for tonight's show, now is the time. This is last call. So you drop your $10 donation. If you are on Instagram or TikTok, you're going to see those directions in the comment feed, and then go ahead and drop your question. If you are referring to someone or a particular business, a particular address, something like that, even a deceased loved one, do include the first name or at least the initials of whoever it is that you're referring to, and we'll try to get to everybody tonight. Also, while we're waiting to collect this question here, I would love to hear from you guys. I want to introduce some new shows in 2026, and I just ran a poll. If you didn't see it, you can drop your vote now. So one of the new shows I'm thinking of introducing in 2026 is strictly on past lives. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see that. Another one is exclusively on pets, connecting with living or deceased pets. Let me know in the comment section. Another one that someone had suggested was what blessings are coming in for you, or what is the next big blessing coming in. I thought that would be an interesting show. And in the poll, I also had every zodiac sign, whatever the horoscope is, based on that week, that month, whatever it's going to be. Okay, so all zodiac sign shows. And if you have a suggestion for a different kind of show you would like to see me do, let me know. I'm always open. And another show was strictly spirit messages. So I'm just channeling, whether it be your angels, your guides, someone you requested to speak to from the other side. The entire show would just be that. I am keeping the ones I currently have: Dear Ivy, Ask Ivy, and The Unbound Sage. Thank you so much for your continued support. All right, so we have a question here from Manny Corregidor. My wife was considering sending our daughter Nikki to live with her sister Candy. I'm in Maryland. Okay, no, in Maryland in 3 to 5 years. What do you feel about this? In Maryland in 3 to 5 years, Nikki and Candy? Well, it's really going to depend upon the changes these two make as individuals. There's a lot of free will and growth spurts that will occur. And if they go in high vibrational directions, I think this could very well work out. If they don't, I don't feel great about it. So it's really hard to give a 100% guarantee on that, today. It's, again, hands in the pot, free will, up to them. But I do think there's some level of resistance that may be coming from Nikki. Now, I'm not hearing this verbally. I'm just like feeling it energetically. So there could be some level of resistance to it. Now, that could be the way things are going to run once she gets there. That could be certain like rules that Candy has. That could be the structure, the environment, of the place itself or Maryland itself. It seems restrictive. It seems like it's not entirely vibing with her. But I do think it's an important time for you to sort of set the tone. It seems almost like you're pulling back from this. I think it's important to set the tone as a group, as a family, or like the two of you as husband and wife, to be on the same page and to consistently bring this up and discuss it in the way it's unfolding. So it's not like a concrete yes or no, right or wrong, black or white as of today, and how will this look in, like 3 to 5 years. No. It's as things are unfolding. How does that play and factor in now? The possibility of doing this. It's very possible it could end up going in a very different direction. I think high likelihood it may go in a very different direction. All right, thank you, Manny. And do we have any other questions coming in, or are we at time? Did Manny have 2? Not sure what ended up happening with that. If anyone else is in New York and dealing with seasonal allergies, I would love to know what you take for it, because I know there's so much on the market, and I can't be zoned out and like exhausted all the time. I know that you're welcome, Manny. The big symptoms are like itching eyes, itching throat, stuff like this. I need something to just kind of calm that down. Diana, let me know if we are at time or if we have another question or if we're waiting on any more questions. Okay. CJG wants to know, could you tell me how my pet dog Zoe feels about me? Okay. CJG Zoe, how does Zoe feel about you? Zoe feels a little bit irrelevant. Zoe seems to, have a lot of like, whether this is like the zoomies or I've only had like one dog ever, but she didn't do any of that, but she was too old. But it seems like there's a lot of energy going on there, and it's kind of like I'm going around and around. It's like I see her looking for something. It's like I'm looking for something. Maybe these aren't zoomies. Maybe she's trying to sit down. It's like I'm almost like chasing my tail. It's like I can't sit here. I got to make this right. I have to make this bedding right. I have to make this couch right. And sometimes I see, you sitting there, and it's like by your feet. And she has a way of being very sort of, engrossed. She's just in her world, and she wants to, get into a position where she's also not going to be bothered for a while. And she has a little bit of like an old lady attitude where it's like, Why am I being bothered? So you may get blamed for bothering her, for giving, you know, her a lovely life and whatnot. You know, I think that there is a little bit of stress that she brought into this relationship. She has some residual past life stress. She has some, I feel like, residual stress even from, you know, earlier in her life, and her nervous system may be a bit on edge. I think it can affect the way that you see the bond with her, but she is grateful for you. She really does love you. I do feel like, you know, you pamper her. I also feel though sometimes like you're fed up with her, or maybe you're reading her energy as being like a stressor to you, you know, her existence, the responsibility of taking care of her as being a bit of a stressor. And I do think she reacts to that as well. But in general, I mean, she's kind of detached. You know, she is also though protective of you. And I think she lets you know that regularly. She's what I would call an empathic pup. They do tend to be nervous. But because she has high level empathic ability, if you're having a rough day, you're going through something, you know, you're stressed, she will pick up on that, and she will have a strong, almost obsessive desire to fix that for you, or to sit on you, you know, or if you're ever in pain, to sit on that part of your body. And for anyone who's ever had a dog or a cat, you know, a pet in general, who won't get off you, and you are having some pain or discomfort, you know, that's why. It is their job to fix it, and they're trying to pull it out of you. I think one of the things that's really good for the relationship with her is like a lot of walking, or a lot of being outside, or a lot of being in nature, because it also helps her to get rooted and grounded. Okay, simply. But there's a lot of love there. She's just a little aloof. All right, I think we are done. Okay, we are at time. Thank you so much. Can we give Diana a hand? She did amazing. Okay, so one of our new producers here, Diana, she's been picking up the pace real quick on these shows. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back next Wednesday for the Unbound Sage, where you drop a $10 donation and I deliver out to you whatever is the most important message for you to hear at this time. So tune in for that if you need a reading with me. In the meantime, Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium.com. See you guys next time. Thank you, Spirit. Thanks, everyone.